Alright, welcome, Fogs. This is the CnR Radio Interview session, alright? First time we had an interview since Flintwood about a month ago, where the highlight of his interview was how he got married and, did stuff with his wife, which took 3 minutes. Anyway, so we've got we've got Overseer here today. How you feeling, bro? Yeah, there he is. He said,
Ooh, it's very. I'm actually excited to be here.
Oh yes, me too. Cause we're gonna do a lot of things. Okay, people are gonna actually know who you are. Yeah, I mean, speaking of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of that, usually the first question is, how'd you find CNR? But we can't properly start this interview, for those that don't know you already, right off the bat, Overseer, you gotta reveal your actual identity. Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck were you?
All right.
Okay.
So, hi everyone. My name is Overseer in game, but there were a couple of accounts that I had before this one. So I basically started playing as a roleplay name. It was Dookie.
Oh, yes.
And in the meantime, I've changed accounts like 3 or 4 times. So I used ICP, which is not to be mistaken with Insane Clown Posse, which I do not listen. Then I changed. Alright, so there was one more account which was just Dookie, right?
Ooh, breaking news.
And then so I got kind of bored of it because there were so many people thought that I was Doogie, actually, the guy who helped develop San Andreas multiplayer. So that kind of bothered me because they would always ask, are you admin? I need some help. Can you teleport me? Can you give me objects? Can you give me money and stuff? And then kind of all of the people that I used to play with, like the group that I was with, we kind of, fell apart and I stopped playing for a while.
Yes.
And now I'm playing under Overseer for just about a year now, actually.
Wow, there you go. News broken on this show.
Breaking news. These news are so good, actually, that Ali, who's in our show, did not know that Overseer is Dookie, right?
Yeah, when they come up, when they, I asked actually, Tabak now, like, Overseer, it was like, I don't know what title I should come up with. And I had no idea it was Dookie or ICP,
Yeah.
That was surprising.
I actually understand now, I think, why he chose the name Overseer, because, you can see over things, in a way that other people don't know you can, because they don't know who you are necessarily, but you know who they are, because you had experience with them in the past or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And that was, So when I created this account, Overseer, I actually could see who is what kind of persons I know them as, and I can also see when none of the friends are online, right? I can see their true faces behind, in game.
Yes.
So sometimes all of the people that I used to be friends with, they would completely be complete opposite of what I thought they are. So I was friends with a lot of people that I thought were nice, and they were rule-abiding players, and they would probably, when you look at it from my point of view as my old account, you would see nothing wrong. But when you join as a new player and nobody knows who you are, you can actually get the experience of what they actually are like. So when I was new, I did get a couple of messages where people would behave like, you just came to the server, you're basically nobody. And I would ask for help, which is what a new player does. And all of the people who usually are kind to me on my main account, they were like, oh, you know, this guy, shut up. Nobody wants to talk to you.
What
So
a
instead,
bitch.
exactly. And then, you know, I noticed I kind of made a list of all of the people who I used to know, and I kind of actually categorized them, and I could see whether they're like good people just to me or to everyone. And that was like sort of a test, you know?
See, I have actually a question, or more like, I don't know, like yesterday, for example. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Anyway, we were in a channel in here with few people, few regulars, and one of them was Marcus Weed, and Ali was explaining the story how him and Cyber approached Marcus Weed on Red, you know, and apparently like he can take the joke or whatever. I don't understand the whole story, but whatever, you know. So Marcus Weed said in the end that it's a little bit unfair, you know, being like that, because in a sense you have advantage over other people, you know. You know things about them, and you know you're pretending you're someone else, and they don't have this information available to them, right? So
Yeah.
what do you think about that? I mean, because would you like it, for example, if you had friends test you like that or whatever?
Oh yeah, because like my game style or gameplay doesn't actually change. If you know me like 3 or 4 years ago, you would see that no matter under which account I play, I would still behave the same. Like if someone asks for something, I would try to help. But like I was tested like a couple of times with my close friends. They would like come in game and try to do stuff under, you know, unregistered accounts, and they would still see that even then I really don't actually care what they do. Like they can, you know, make me explode or kill me or whatever. I really don't care. Honestly, in a way.
Honestly, listen, if they did that to me, I would kick their ass. Okay, for real. Like if you try to test me on an unreg, you probably get banned. You know?
Oh well. Yeah, I mean you have the power, but
or you get your ass kicked. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
See, what I used to do was actually, I quite enjoyed playing under Unreal. I just thought, you know, that sometimes it gives you peace, you know, because like playing the server, you create the persona you are, like some people know you and stuff like that. And when you appear, people gonna be messaging you. Sometimes you're left like you feel guilty, you know, because people ask you to play with them all the time, whatever, you know, and sometimes you just want to play solo. Like, for example, Roshan always bashes me being a bad cop, whatever, co-passenger seat, whatever, you know.
Yes.
And sometimes I would actually like to prove that I'm not that bad, you know, because I didn't used to be actually bad because I was playing more on my own, and I think playing in pair kind of makes you lazy, whatever. So yeah, sometimes I just like to go on Unreal, you know, because I'm not getting bothered by anyone or whatever. You can be someone and have peace and quiet. Yeah. So what I would actually do is like, I don't know why I did that, but I would be like, for example, whole game week, I would be a good player. Like I would be doing stuff, trucking, fishing, whatever, you know. And at the same time, I would observe newbies and try to identify the one that is kind of a good player, you know. And all the money I earned at the end of the game week, you know, which was usually like 3 million or whatever with fishing and trucking, all that money I would give to that player.
Really?
But I do agree, like the same things happened to me, you know. Some people that I know that were nice to me, you know, under the cash, probably also because I'm a girl, I don't know. They were completely indifferent, you know, just because of the fact that I was a new player, maybe with few points of score, you know. And I was not even the kind of player like Ali or Cyberset, for example, that they kind of annoyed Marcus Weed or whatever. I was just law-abiding citizen, so to speak. But some people just really like to, I guess, test their aim skills or whatever, you know, on new players. But enough about me. I actually, sorry, I had a question prepared for you. So, you said that you created this new profile, right? Because one, you were upset with people thinking you're Doogie, and second, because there were some friends that you no longer wanted to be friends with, or you kind of wanted to distance yourself away from them, right?
Exactly.
So, don't you think this interview kind of plays against that? I mean, don't you worry that exactly the same thing will happen? The same people will approach you again, the same people will attack you again?
Well, after all of the things that I said right now, they will probably not approach me again, because like those who were, they thought I was their friend, they can, try to PM me, but those who think that they were assholes towards me, then they will probably not PM me, and that's a good thing. Like, when I created a new account, nobody knew who I was, and I could enjoy the game without, any interruptions. And now that everyone knows who I am, like you said, I really don't actually care anymore. Like, I'm not afraid to say, like, all right, you're an asshole, I don't want to be friends with you, right? So, before, it used to be different. Like, I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but then I realized that none of these people are actually, like, my friends, and none of them actually wish me anything good, right? It's just a game, and we're not friends, we're kind of like people who know each other. There's only,
that's harsh.
Yeah, but so what I'm trying to say is I completely like enjoy distancing myself from others, because like before I was forced to be friends with everyone. So for example, when I would play as a cop, there would be so many so-called like friends, quotations, that I couldn't, for example, arrest anyone, or I couldn't, enjoy the game, basically.
Yeah, that hurt.
But,
So, the reason why I made so many new accounts is that, so first 2 times were like just for fun, actually, to see how far will I get with my stats and everything. And later, like this latest account, Overseer, the person who you are interviewing, this account was created to see how many, players actually are showing their true face. And so far, I can safely say that none of these people are actually like what they are.
I was nice to you. All
right, yeah, but you're nice to everyone, right?
I actually remember the first time we talked on Overseer something. We had like super long chat. I didn't even know. And mind you, like I had this guy on Steam account as a Dookie, and he was Overseer in the game. I did not know, so
yeah. So that was like that. Yeah, I remember the conversation that we had, and you did actually help me with some things. Like I pretended to be new, and I also was very friendly, right? So I just wanted to see if you would be friendly towards like a new person who is trying to maybe learn some things, or try to get help. And you are one of the people who helped me. The other guy was, I don't really remember the name.
No one else.
Yeah, basically nobody worth mentioning anymore, because now I know that the other guy doesn't play anymore. It was Jeffrey, I remembered.
I'm not playing anymore.
Yes. So see, like one of the things Marcus said, for example, is you just make me mad, If I would know it's you, I wouldn't be like that, But that's not the point. The point is that you show your true colors to people who you know nothing about, Mm-hmm. I'm like, you're with people like that, how you essentially are, I think. I don't know, at least to me. But yeah, I wanted to say something else, but I kind of forgot. So, yeah.
What a noob.
So,
yeah,
we saw this before, with some people, like for example with Ashes,
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times actually here on Discord, I think even with Roshan, we discussed, what's actually the point of people, making new accounts when essentially everything comes out anyway, So you're not profiting that much in the end. Like the only way you could do it is like only if you knew it and as soon as the other person knows it, it's kind of
It's over.
there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be breaking news.
Yeah. Sorry?
It'll be breaking news.
Yes, it'll be breaking news.
Yes.
So are there like parts of Dookie that you wish like you could still bring to Overseer? Or I know you said that you're kind of still the same player, right? So that kind of confirms my point. What's the point of making a new account if you're still kind of the same player? Don't you think one way of avoiding those people who always pester you, I think I'm guilty of that myself actually, is just that you don't know how to say no,
Exactly.
And that pushes you to create a new account because people won't leave you alone. Maybe if you just learned to say no to people, then you could keep your account. Do you think that's the problem?
Well, yeah, that is a part of the problem, because like everyone on CNR has like a group that they usually play with, right? And sometimes the groups, like for example, gang groups, for example, like Sam, or
Gay.
I don't know what gangs there are anymore. So they would like all play together, but I know in reality that not all of them are, friendly towards each other. They don't like necessarily like each other. And just because they're afraid of losing, like being in Sam, just because of one person, they actually kind of cope with it. Like they try to play even though it kind of bothers them, right? So what I did, like you said, I don't basically change. I never changed my gameplay. I never changed the style that I play with. So my point is, you can't really know. For example, if I'm, you can never like connect me to Dookie, right?
Right.
There could be so many players that have similar playstyle that you can't even know anymore. And it has been working fine. I mean, someone actually shared the information who I actually was, and even that didn't actually change the things too much.
Give us a name. We want to review names on radio.
Wait, when was that? Today?
No. I used to. It was 2 weeks ago, or more actually, like 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
I got in game and everyone was like, "Oh, stop pretending, Overseer. We know who you are." And I was like, "What?" I played dumb. Yeah, I was pretending not to know what's going on, and people were basically saying it in chat, like, we know you're Dookie, stop pretending, right? And even then, when all of them found out, nobody wanted to PM me, which was actually the point. Like, in the end, I wanted to tell everyone who I was. And now that everyone knows, like, nobody PM'd me, like none of the old friends, if you want to call them that.
Right.
They all like pretended that we don't know each other, which is fine by me, right? I don't like, you're the reason I changed in the first place.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is also that, I don't know why, but people in the game, think that if you're their friend, that you should not arrest them, you should not chase them, you should not do anything, The problem is, though, that when you have people that have been in the community for a long time, or they're just kind of friendly with everyone, if you're like that to them, you're basically not enabling them to play the game, Because me, for example, right, like when I play the cop, I know so many people, some people even send you a nice comment or whatever, and you're happy for the comment, then I feel guilty, chasing them, because they were just nice to me a few seconds ago.
Yeah.
And people take it so personally sometimes. Oh, you chased me, I thought we were cool, and stuff like that. Listen, guys, you have to understand that if I would literally not chase everyone that I kind of like or spoke ever to, or, then I could not play the game. So you have to understand that, I don't know, me personally, I take it like that, I can battle it out with some friends, have them attack me or whatever, and, I won't think our friendship is over. It's just kind of, we're battling it out then, and 5 minutes later we're still friends. I just don't understand why CNR makes it that so hard, so that people have to be pushed so far they have to create new accounts.
Oh, now, see, there are many instances, like, not for example like DMing or arresting. There are many different scenarios that can happen, like so many. For example, I tried to sell weapons and one of my close friends actually DM'd me, right? He didn't know it was me. So like every aspect of CNR.
They'd be like, oh sorry bro, I didn't know you were you.
Yeah, no, in the end, yeah, I never told him who I was. Maybe now he'll find out, maybe he's tuned in. But
don't worry, we have my listeners. So
now, my point is, I've had so much fun that for those year and a half that nobody knew who I was, that I actually enjoyed the game for the first time in ages, and I think people should do it more often. Like they should change accounts.
So here you have it.
Like, I'm not encouraging multi-accounts. I'm saying that you shouldn't use the old account anymore. I mean, I have like 4 accounts by now, but none of them are used. Like, you can check it out if you want.
Yeah, they're retired.
Yeah, they're retired. Like, I'm not multi-accounting. I'm just, trying to play the game.
Yeah, I actually thought of making a new account myself, and like whatever, just leaving this behind, because I'm always out there in chat, talking a lot and stuff like that, and sometimes I wish I had peace, or that people would message or whatever, The problem, however, is that I'm just like that, I'm kind of talkative, I'm kind of, have playful personality or whatever. So I think if I create a new account, that would probably last a month. Maybe I would keep myself from being quiet in the chat. And I think
probably less, way less.
Probably.
Yes.
Yeah, probably less. And then I just probably would join in conversation, and it would bother me that I'm kind of limiting myself, For example, I don't know, some people know, I guess, at least some admins know that I had an account before,
Before Cash?
Yes. And,
I know.
And for example, I had really weird name, which would not suggest at all that I'm a girl. And I always felt like restraining myself from being who I really am. I could not come on Discord, for example, and talk, because that would be just weird with that name I had,
I'll call you bro.
And, so I think the same way, if I would create a new account, I would come on Discord, people would recognize me by the voice, I could, from that point on, I would make new account, I could never come on Discord, Is that a thing you personally worried about? Because I'm pretty sure that on Dookie you were part of Mumbo's Discords, whatever.
Yes, so I was a part, as Dookie, but even a few months ago, when there was unofficial CNR server, I would join and but I would join the voice chat, and there were so many people there and nobody recognized me, so I used the name Overseer, and even then I had like a really good time. Nobody knew actually who I was, so
really,
yeah, amazing. See, because I would always get itched, I would need to come up with stupid excuses why I'm not coming on Discord, and I thought it's the same for you, There's kind of some fun stuff happening on server, I don't know, events and stuff like that. You want to go on Discord, have fun with everyone, but you can't because you're hiding behind someone you were, or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of have like the unique sound to my voice, which is kind of bad, but if I had like the generic voice, I would never, stop joining. I think it would be even harder for people to find out who I actually was. But coming back to the topic where you said that you would create a new account, but the problem is you're too talkative, right? So
yes,
I had this problem too, because I really wanted to talk to everyone, But then again, I didn't want to, show people that I know actually everything about the server. So there were many occasions where I would like try to help someone and I would write a message and then I would delete everything I wrote because people think that I'm too new to know all these things. So like that part, like not talking to or not helping anyone, that part was really difficult.
I don't know how you guys can do this. I couldn't do that. Maybe.
No,
Yeah, I mean, so basically what I did, I would, unbind the letter T or something. Like I would try not to write anything. And, in the end, it worked. I never, wrote too much. Nobody actually paid attention to me. Nobody knew I existed under the name of Overseer for about a year or more. So they would all think like,
That's very good because, most of these punks out here, they make new names and they give themselves out in less than 7 days. When you changed your name, I knew all the admins knew, but I felt like in a month or two, someone's gonna know that you're Dookie, so I'm kind of surprised it took... Yes.
For example.
Oh my god. Well,
Ashes, right?
Surprisingly expanded, or
Ashes also.
Who else? There
Ashes
was
and Expand are different people.
Yeah. I mean, like all of the people who actually
Wax and Silver 6-3.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Well, Wax only did that because he got found as a training.
Seriously,
So.
like Dookie, if you look at it now, you're really in the good company of men. I mean, trannies, but
I mean, I started this trend like 4 years ago. Don't try to copy me. There was like, no, I don't want to like spread any rumors, but I really have to check my information first.
Have you ever gone in chat and asked people, hey guys, do you know this guy Dookie? Was he a good guy? Just to get like information from people what they
Oh my god.
No, I never did that, but
You didn't?
No, because it would be too obvious, in my opinion.
Yes.
Wait, so you're telling me that because I assumed when you changed your name, there were at least 2 or 3 regulars that knew who you were. So you're saying nobody knew who you, absolutely zero, absolutely no one who knew who you were.
Actually, Lucas,
Oh my god,
the
Lucas.
brony. Yeah, because he knew immediately, because like the name Overseer comes from a game that we both love and enjoy. It was Fallout.
Oh,
And he knew that I was a fan of the game, right? So the first time he saw me in game, like I wrote something in chat and he's like, oh, you're ICP, I can get my money.
So Lucas
then-
is not that stupid.
Yeah, so I had
Wow.
to PM him like, oh my god, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to stay undercover here, right? But yeah, some players actually figured it out. And it wasn't because of anything that I, told them. It was because they made the connection. Like, I remember, like, one person told me, you're right, you're like the style where you describe things like when you're trying to help people, you're right the same as the guy Dookie, right? And I tried to pretend that, I was, who's that?
Who's Dookie?
But in reality, my answer, who's that, is the thing that gave me away, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, it was kind of, stupid for me to reply. I should have just ignored it. So, well, now almost, let me check. Actually, more than 2 years have passed that I've played on Overseer, and yeah, I think it was about time. I think I'm the longest, I made it the longest without people knowing.
You made it the longest, but you got kicked just now, GG. But
Waiting for the other person to break my record, by the way. So
the other guy.
if anyone's listening, you can try to do it.
Since you're
2
so
years.
good at this thing, taking over new accounts and remaining secret, whatever, Have you ever like tried to challenge yourself? Like, okay, next step I'm moving to is like I'm trying to be girl for 2 years before they figure out I'm not.
Oh my
I don't know. I'm not a tranny.
Please
You
don't.
know, you have to
Do I
move bar higher and
Do
higher.
I look
and
like
higher.
treble clef? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, please don't be a trainee, man. Please, just
Nah.
don't do it.
So back at like when you were at Duke and stuff like that, right? We're good friends with some Croatians / Serbians like Saros maybe, and
Yeah.
yes. Didn't she really have a liking for you?
I mean, she would. I wouldn't necessarily call it that she liked me, but she kind of, enjoyed playing with me, which is not bad in a way. Like, I was friends with a lot of admins, but like the point that she's Croatian, like, has nothing to do with it. We would,
Is that a
I
part
was-
also? Why you created new account? Because I don't know, people would call you Asslicker, you have too many admin friends or whatever, and you try to
Well,
prove that you can be on your own with
there, there was that too. Like, when it comes to my past on CNR, like, I was in a group with so many admins. Like, it's a cop group. Shout out to
CUSA, yes.
CUSA.
yeah.
Oh boy.
And so, like, it's the player's mentality. If you're in a group that has a lot of admins, that automatically means that you're an Asslicker, right?
Yeah.
That's how it was, yes.
Yeah, but see, the problem is I would never like ask for anything, and a lot of people can confirm that I didn't actually suck up to anyone. But people in game were having none of that. Like, they would be ignorant, like they usually are, because that's like the way people are now. Basically, they're all ignorant and they think they're, they know everything.
Yes.
So there was like a part where like being friends with admins influenced my game, name change, but it wasn't the main reason. The main reason was I actually wanted to enjoy the game.
See, I know personally from my Steam account, and actually now before the interview, we actually had to wait for Overseer to finish his game of Dota. So yeah, I know that you played Counter-Strike. I know, like you said, you played Fallout, I believe.
Yeah.
You played Dota, right? So those are all great games. And since you had to go through this process of changing names so many times on CNR, what is it in CNR that keeps you playing despite that? I mean, obviously you enjoy other games and stuff like that. Why would you go through process of creating 4 names and being anonymous to people just to play CNR,
All right, so like every other player here, I started playing when I was very, very young.
Right.
And usually in the teenage years, all the things that you do kind of stick with you for the rest of your life. So for example, if you listen to a certain type of music, you will still end up listening, like, for example, to that exact type of music when you're adult. Now, for me, I started playing CNR, and that's what I enjoyed when I was like a teenager. So it kind of, no matter how many games I play or how many friends I have outside the game, I still kind of like enjoy, for some reason, all the variety. Like, you can play anything that you want, basically. So I guess it was influenced by puberty, but also like
Puberty, yes.
it was, I had some good memories, right? And you wouldn't necessarily play the game if you had some bad experience previously, right?
Right.
So
But-
you can kind of say that it's like a,
But you said, for example, right, you cut ties with your old friends. You cut ties. That's why you created the account, right? So, since there's things in the game that keep you coming back, is it new people also now? I mean, did you make like a lot of new friends on Overseer, or do you kind of remain like to yourself and just play for yourself and don't really interact with people that much?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can say that I didn't meet so many new people. There are some people that I'm friends now with that I would never probably meet if I stayed on the old account. But yeah, you can say that I made some new friends. Now, like you said, it's more of a, like, I want to play alone, but if someone needs help, I'll try to help. So you can call me selfish, but I just want to enjoy the game. That's pretty much it.
Can understand that, but I would say that the fact that it took this long, mainly for your old names to be found out, especially with you having to say them, then I think people did respect you, especially the ones that found out previously, because if it was any other fag, ban evader or something like that, who tried to change accounts and tried to be quote-unquote clean, they would have been exposed in a week. So I think you should feel pretty good about that.
Well, I mean, I always had like opinion, like a very high opinion of myself in the community.
Yeah,
I always thought that I was a good player, and I really don't I don't want to tell people that I'm like a bad player, because I know I never like actually break the rules, and I respect everyone who knew me and still never told anyone that I was Dookie, for example. And like you said, that means that I did something right, so I wasn't like a complete ass towards everyone.
Exactly,
You said though that you had some friends which you wish you didn't have, right? So if you're a good player, a good personality, how come you ended up in their company,
Yeah,
was it some stupid decisions, or was it being too nice to people, or
basically a mix of all of those things. So it all started with, well, where I'm from, right? Like ex-Yugoslavia, like Eastern Europe, right? I would, get in a group with all of people that speak the same language, and one thing leads to another. And for example, if they're robbing something, I would help. If they're, for example, trying to do something bad, I would still try to help. But that was where I made a mistake.
Oh, cop is coming, kill the cop.
Yeah. And
Polizeiet.
And
not the cop, Prashant. It's XU, please.
XU, please.
Yes.
And
okay.
So I became friends with a wrong group of people that would like break the rules all the time. And then came the CUSA, like you said, Rashan, earlier. One of the so
did you feel guilty though? Like you were like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Like, did you know at the time it was wrong, or were you just going with it and like, enjoying it? Or were you like, I have to be here because of these guys, but I don't really want to do this?
Oh, no. So, one of the kind of unwritten rules of, for example, joining CUSA was to be a good player. And because of my past, people thought that I was not actually a good player. So, I kind of, stopped talking to everyone, but in reality I still played with people when CUSA members weren't online, and that freedom was actually what made me like have so many friends. But that's the actual mistake, having so many friends, you can't really play the game. And it all basically in the end it all comes to that topic, like you have so many friends and you can't play anymore.
No space to breathe, huh?
Yeah, actually that's one reason I never ever joined any groups, and I will probably never will, because I don't like to keep agenda who I can be friend with and who not. Like, I don't know, for example, back in the days I used to be friend with Bad Santa. He was in Blackwater.
Yeah.
And he was a cool dude. I don't know what he was doing in that group, but he was in that group and he was a nice guy, like probably one of the nicest people. But then people would see me like in a car with him and they would assume I'm part of that group, and people that would otherwise talk to me would stop talking to me, or I would get told who I cannot talk to and stuff, and that completely pisses me off. I do not agree with that, I can't judge people just because you're part of some group, you're a bad person, because someone can be nice to me, just because you hate the person doesn't mean I have to hate them too, I think people should use their own brain, decide for themselves, who they like, who they do not just based on the groups, right?
So, coming back to the topic of having too many friends, like,
yes.
It's not always a good thing. Yeah, we discussed like not being able to play the game, but also having so many friends. Like, for example, if I'm in CUSA, right? And we're, for example, chasing a warrant, and we would always cop tank, which is kind of gay, but we would chase a warrant that would be my friend, and it's kind of where everything collides with each other. Like, I'm chasing my friend, but I'm also friends with the group of people that I'm playing with right now, and I would get so many angry like PMs and why the fuck are you doing this? Like, are you that retarded? Sorry for the
That's
bad
what I
words.
said earlier. People should understand that.
Yeah, so all of those things kind of bothered me, and that was one of the main reasons I switched. And just now I've received a PM from an old player, and he told me that I'm an asshole. Basically.
Can you give shout out the name?
Shout out to Colgate. He is one of the.
I knew it.
He's one of the people that I used to play with like a long time ago.
I saw Colgate yesterday in game, right, after a really long time, and he was a cop. I think he was dark blue cop. So I see him on kill feed, there's a warrant, no arrest from him. One warrant got shot with stun off, and 2 seconds later the other warrant got killed with the chainsaw. Never before seen a cop kill a guy with the chainsaw. I mean, when you're chainsawing him, right, it takes about 1.5 seconds. Surely you have time to press the arrest button, no?
Maybe he was spam muted. You don't know.
Yeah, of course.
My God.
I remember there was a player that I was really good friends with, actually. His name was Special, with a 3 instead of E.
Yeah, I love that guy.
And so he was like the type of person who would be a cop, but he would pat slap and chainsaw a warrant to death. So yeah, that's... I mean, but he never got punished. He always had an excuse. No matter how dumb his excuse was, you just gotta hand it to him, right? Like,
He might have followed the Parsa's tutorial for cop things,
Oh no.
whose tutorial? I'm sorry.
You keep spamming the arrest button. Once you get muted, you can kill him. That's the tutorial, mate.
Right.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure Special played before Parsa, so...
Yeah, wait.
See, the thing you said about the playstyle, that sometimes it's better not to have too many friends, sometimes better not to talk too much, I agree. I mean, Roshan, you even have this thing called, like, what is it called? Foot in the ass disease?
Foot and mouth disease. Foot and mouth disease. Yes.
And also, talking too much sometimes brings you only the trouble. Like I said 1,000 times before, if I were one of those quiet girls, I would have 2 things already: an admin status, and Roshan would want to bang me. Now, however, I don't have any,
Oof.
Oof.
I mean...
Yes.
Oof. I was gonna say something, but that made me forget what I was gonna say. But yes, that reminds me, going back to, being called an asshole there, Colgate calling me an asshole. I remember one time, at the very tail end of CUSA almost, Like, remember Fanta, right? The admin who used to be an admin. Yeah. I call him Fugazi Fanta now because Fugazi apparently means fake because he was fake because he quit CUSA to go on a honeymoon with Princess Kenny. So, so I remember I was driving the car and everything in rack were in my car. You know what I mean, but they were still friends with Fugazi Fanta even though he had left. But I wasn't. I thought he was a Fugazi. So I wanted to arrest the guy, alright? So I've got 3 people on my car. We've got a big car. We can destroy him, right? So I want to go after him. I drive toward him. And those 2 are like, yeah.
Don't want to shoot him.
Don't want to shoot my friend, bro. So I had to force him to shoot him because, how awkward is it going to be? I drive next to him. So, we take him down once. He turns warning again, and I want to take him down a second time. So, of course, those 2 get out of the car. Now, I know everything's a lot better these days. He doesn't give a snit anymore. But they both leave the car. I try to go for Fugazi Fanta, and of course, stuff didn't go well. And I got taken down. And after that, I was pretty mad.
I think there was also part with Ricard in there, not doing anything or something, or was that the other one?
Well, that happens a lot, so I can't really pinpoint. I can't really pinpoint, but it's the thing with the friends thing,
Yes. How can you force someone to shoot it though? That's new. I mean, how do you do it? I mean, you cannot press button for them.
Call them a pussy.
You're like, I will eject you all in the river if you don't start shooting, or like...
Yeah, I probably should have ejected Rakra into the street or something. Have Fugazi Fanta kill her, and then she'll get mad and all this, But, it's the thing, the mutual friend thing, can't go after your friends and shit. Like, at first I used to comply to that, but after a while, especially after that moment, I was like, okay, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. Okay. Definitely not.
Yes.
Yeah. So now you can see kind of why I enjoyed so much, basically. Because right now I checked. I've been playing since February 2016.
Yes.
So that's 2.5 years now, which is kind of impressive.
Wait, on the Overseer?
Yes, on Overseer. I never actually noticed until now that I was here for 2.5 years undercover, basically.
See, Overseer, like you talked about this, how much you appreciate people helping out and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
You're a nice player, so what do you think about creating a topic on forum, like how to hide your ass for 2 years? Do you think that would help, like, a lot of...
Well, now, it all comes down to, I could create, like, some basic rules that you have to follow, but I don't think anyone would have the first motivation to do so, like, for 2.5 years. It basically all comes down to how much you enjoyed the game.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
no matter how many rules you have, like, you would always have to, try your best.
So, since we have this pleasure of talking with you, and you're pretty much like a little treasure of undercover work, I really want to use you to spill some beans, Tell us, like, what's the weirdest or funniest or the most hypocritic shit you heard when you were undercover? Like, who was the regular that was breaking rules? What was happening? Like a story to tell or something?
Oh, there's like too many examples where I can, spill the beans on so many people. Now, for example, one of the funniest things that I've seen, but it's not actually a secret anymore, is Jane's DMing. So, yeah. So, now he kind of doesn't really care anymore, right? But there was a period where he kind of, cared, and he was still like considered one of the best players out there, like not breaking many rules, trying to be a regular and everything. And once I joined undercover, like, he would see that there's no one online and he would get harassed. So he ended up actually, DMing, which was kind of surprising because he was, considered one of the best players at the time. That's only one example. There are many more that I really can't recall right now.
Oh shit!
Like for example, regularly abusing some glitches and animations and such, which is
usual.
It's basically it's usual, but you would never expect it from players of that caliber, like taking ADs without animations and cop DMing, for example, like you mentioned earlier, parses, tutorial. So yeah, there was a lot of things that I saw, and for example, some members of very good, you can consider them groups or players that have very good reputation, would go out and do so many stupid shit that you wouldn't believe if you were online on your main account. And yeah, I only kind of mentioned Janes, but like there's too many players that have done the same thing. So it's not a personal bash, towards Janes. It's just that the list is too big to name everyone. Basically, everyone does stupid shit. So
yes, I can literally hear Janes's adminship fucking sinking right now.
I think the Janes thing.
Right now, like recently, he's adapted to this playstyle, and everyone knows that when he's bothered in game, he would actually go out and DM in front of everyone, which is kind of justified. I mean, a person can lose so much. Well, basically, they can get pissed off. Like everyone has their limit.
You make him mad and he'll get destroyed. So
Part of Sean, he doesn't know how to DM.
Fuck it. Listen, I'll DM you next time I see you, fag. What you gonna say?
There was actually one time when Rashawn was trying to chase me when I was a warrant. He really, really, really wanted to be the one to arrest me. Yeah. And I intentionally gave myself into some other cop just so Rashawn could not arrest me.
Yeah, what a snit. And there was another time where you were all the way in the Julius Thruway North. I was gonna go after you, but you just were on the other complete side of the map and you lost warrant. I mean, what a pussy. Honestly, you would have gotten taken down.
Oh, you won't? See, I'm not one of those warrants like that stay inside the city just to have an excuse to DM. I actually run away from the city to lose the stars. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that brings me to another topic, like changing accounts and everything. When you get attacked, like I have a lot of experience when it comes to both the DMing and knowing the mechanics of the game, right? So there were many occasions where I would have a hit and people would check to see my stats or anything. They would see that I'm a new player, but they wouldn't expect like a new player to, completely destroy their car or run away so easily. So they would all be surprised. I've been called a cheater so many times that it's, like, oh my god, this guy has like 100 game days. This guy's cheating. How can he escape? But in reality,
why didn't you play along? Like you said, for example, earlier, right? That sometimes you deleted your messages when you wanted to help people because you thought it would give you out, right? Mm-hmm. So why didn't you play along here as well? Like let them kill you and,
Because being a new player on CNR doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have the experience with, DMing, for example. So you can, maybe there are some players who know how to DM, and they've learned to DM on different servers. You never actually know someone's past, especially if they're a new player. So in that, on that topic, I was kind of covered.
It's completely true, yeah.
Yeah, so I basically could do anything that I wanted. If I want to escape, I would escape. If I want to kill the guy, I would kill the guy and, PM him like that was a bad idea, which would piss them off. But then again, it's like what made me enjoy the game. Like if I were again on an old account, I would never be able to do that. I would either let them kill me or just ignore kind of and hope for the best.
Yeah, just get on your knees and take the kill, you know. Yeah.
Well, yeah. But now, like, yeah, on this account, I wouldn't take shit from anyone. It's for the best, and people get surprised often.
Do you have any cheating experience? I mean, you don't have to answer this, but I will ask you anyway.
Well,
because a lot of times people go, like, when they come to CNR, they're young players, they go through process of, I don't know, hanging out with wrong people, maybe cheating a bit, and then you have those people who stay eternally brain dead, and some people that actually, change or whatever, develop into a better person.
Of course. I mean, speaking of cheating, I did cheat, but I never cheated on CNR. Like, I know I have experience and I know how every cheat works, or a modification. But on CNR, I think, especially today, there's no point to cheat because there's no lag shooting anymore. So even then, like, cheating would be completely obvious. But back then, when I was new, I never actually cheated. I knew that cheating is wrong, and I just, you can call me anything, like, for example, Asslicker or something, but I was always up for being legit in any game. Not, every multiplayer game I never cheated, so I think that's a kind of a gay, way to play a game.
Yeah, cheating is bad.
But yeah, speaking of cheating experience, I was forced to download some cheats to see how they work and how to, notice if someone's cheating, because if you don't use them, then you will never probably know how to, detect a cheater or anything. But cheating on CNR directly, no. The answer to that is no, I never cheated.
So since you have a lot of experience, like, with cheats, but still being a good person not to cheat on CNR, since you've been around here for 4 accounts now already and you consider yourself a good player, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you should be considered for,
admin?
Promotion? Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I mean, we discussed this, like, I discussed this with some friends before, and there was actually a topic by a regular in the secret part of the forums, and the person said, like, I don't get the recognition that I deserve. And
I want to actually stop you here because I don't want you to go too far, and I apologize for interrupting. But so you're overseer, right? Do you think that if you were still Dookie, people would consider you more for an admin than they do now, because you're overseer, obviously, and people think you don't have that much experience as you have actually?
So you're asking if I would have higher chances of being admin on old account?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, but in reality, I mean, it has been proven many times before. Experience kind of doesn't have anything to do with being admin. There were many promotions that happened. Well, let's just say that not all current admins are very experienced, but then again, it's, in my opinion, it's just like one of the things that are necessary to be an admin. But, like, there are other very important traits that you should have other than being experienced, like, but that's only my opinion.
You need to get.
I don't know what he said, but this will be a good time to take a break. I think we want to expand on that, the traits of becoming an admin, how that differs from, today to back then, because, I don't want to talk snit, but,
I
not
just
gonna
want
say
to
that.
add something. Well, there's no really criteria for the admin. The only criteria I see is, like, overseer. There's one question. If you were an admin, would you spawn me a siren?
Oh my god.
Yes or no?
Sure, I guess, yeah.
Cute material, I'm telling you.
Shit cocks, I tell ya. Well, we'll continue and talk about sirens on the other side of the break. This is the CnR Radio. The music. Thank you, Snorkel. Thank you, Snorkel, for telling me that the music volume was on. The camera's on. The camera's on the whole time, huh?
Useless.
Okay. Anyway, let me restart to the end. So again, we're gonna go back into Dookie's Darksyde here, all right? Because, like I said, just like everyone, we're not all clean all the time. Okay. I remember when Congested Breath, Last Breath, I was on top of his car, and he brought me into a trance fender. But once that happens, you get teleported to Blueberry Acres. And I was falling down from Blueberry Acres, but I was like, bro, I can't die to Congested Breath, man. I can't die to a guy who fucked his cousin, man. So,
Oh my god.
Too far.
Well, what can I say? So at that time, there was a bug, right, where you could sedate to avoid fall damage. So I thought about it for a few seconds as I was falling, and I'm like, fuck this, all right? I'm not gonna die to Congested Breath. So I did it, and guess what? I safely landed on the ground of Blueberry Acres. But I'm almost sure John877, who was on the server at the time, saw me abuse. And I've never said this to anybody before, I'm pretty sure. That's breaking news. Play the breaking news sound.
That's why I was gonna ask. Can we have the
breaking news? Yes, I did it for the audience right there. But yes, so Dookie, I'm sorry, Overseer. What are some of the not so honorable things you did back on your old accounts?
Oh, all right. So, like, looking back at, first of all, there's like the complaint section, right?
Yes.
So speaking of the complaint section, there was only one time where I did a very bad thing that actually got me like complained, but never actually punished in game. Like the complaint was never, basically, I was never punished. So
Asslicker.
it was one of my first accounts. It was
Asslicker.
Dookie with my last name.
Was it like not enough evidence dismissed?
No, there was no reply basically.
Oh.
So I consider it like not enough evidence. What I did was I was a warrant, and we were playing LS, right? So an old regular from Sam named Abed or whatever.
Abad, yeah.
Yeah, Abod. Yeah. Right. He was chasing me from LS to SF, and he destroyed my bike, and I jumped off the SF bridge into the water. So when I thought I swam far enough away, I kind of quit.
Whoa, kind of quit. No, you straight up slat T/Q back to the desktop. Okay?
Yes, I did. Yes, but in my mind, I was fairly new back then. I didn't think I did anything wrong because I was out of his arrest range and probably outside of his, sniper scope. I was no longer rendered on his screen. So I did quit, but I was never punished for it. The only punishment that I ever got was the permanent disable.
Oh, the only punishment.
The worst punishment that you can get.
What did you get it for?
Yeah.
So I was a very good salesman at the time, and I would get like so many sales in one day that people thought I was abusing something, but in reality, the only thing that I did was I was selling food, and people online at the time were very hungry. So, like 10 people came to me and bought food at once.
Were you selling to African time zone?
I mean, I would make a John877 joke right now, but I'm not Lucas. So
We don't allow those anymore since
Exactly.
John is in this Discord. So
he's a really good guy, actually. I never had anything like. He was one of my favorite admins back then.
Really?
And so I was selling a lot of food to a lot of hungry people, which led to me being a salesman of the day with around 2,500 sales. 2,500
sales.
Yes.
Do you have a screenshot of that?
No, of course not. I mean, there's like, you can check the stats for most sales, like top salesman of the day. I am in top 2 or top 3. But this was like when people were very hungry. And in my opinion, I never did anything wrong. Like,
what happened to CNR people? Why are they not hungry anymore?
I mean, the food vendor skill kind of died after the inventory sales system was revamped. So.
Yeah. Well,
but until then, like, I was considered a very good, player with very good food, I hope.
So those 10 people were not planned. They just so happened to buy.
Well, I mean, they were saying that they were hungry all the time, right? So me being a good player that I am, I would change my skill. Yeah, I mean, it would be kind of selfish of me to, if I have the opportunity and have the food in my inventory, I would sell it to them.
So you would not sell anything to Rashawn, though. He only eats broccoli, and as far as I know, there's no broccoli in the game.
Crazy Bob should just add it, yeah. Oh, there is? Perfect, yeah, I'll buy all that, So, what did you have to do to get unpermitted? Say, what, you had the PM Crazy Bob or something? What happened?
So,
you had the Suckers Cones or something? What happened?
No. So, I did have to PM him, but I explained that what I did was like a part of the script. Like, I didn't like abuse any. You can say that I never abused anything to like make a lot of money. I didn't abuse the stock market that a lot of people did. Like, there were some glitches where you could earn so much money in one day that it's kind of illegal.
Very illegal.
But I didn't abuse anything, I just used my skill to make money.
Yeah, it's true.
And I guess he thought it was funny, so he removed my permanent disabled or whatever. He never replied. He just told me like, "You're unbanned." Yeah, you're unbanned, and that's it. He never, said anything. He never said anything like, "What you did was wrong, and I should, leave you banned." He, just kind of ignored it, in my opinion.
Yeah, Crazy Bob's pretty understanding. Yeah, if you show to him that you aren't stupid, and if you did something to get to get permanently disabled, he'll comply. He's pretty easygoing. Probably too easygoing because bans are 2 weeks. But he's that kind of guy. He's that guy.
See, I'm sitting here right now, right, with a guy who claims he's made of the admin stuff, who's admitting to his wrongdoings. I'm sitting here with another guy who is admin and he's admitting to his wrongdoings, and I'm here, You said, Sean, like everyone had something bad they've done, DM, whatever. I kid you not, I don't have anything.
Oh,
are you sure?
Not even one complaint against me. Yeah.
Really?
No, yeah, I mean, you didn't have any complaints.
I should actually not say this on radio, though, because I'm pretty sure now some, like, motherfucker is gonna, like, just come up with something, to tarnish my name. Pretty sure. But
you're kind of asking for it, so...
Exactly.
I will change it. I will do the Dookie treatment. I will change the account. I will pretend to be quiet.
Oh well, too bad.
Maybe I'll get admin.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of Crazy Bob being too easygoing, I am. Well, I kind of have to disagree because the people that deserve to be banned, they do stay banned like permanently. So, for example, yeah, they do. There are so many examples where people are still banned for all the wrongdoings that I've done, but like permanently banned. And yeah, I think he has like a lot of understanding, but also he doesn't really like let everyone, get unbanned.
Yeah.
Don't you think that other punishments, well, okay, let's not talk about permanent disables now, but like other punishments, don't you think they're not severe enough?
I think that they're actually too severe. Like, in my opinion, yeah.
Really?
So in my opinion, if you have like a person who's constantly breaking the rules, instead of forcing him away from the server for 2 weeks, and let's be honest, nobody stays away for 2 weeks.
That's true.
They like, you ban their account, but instead, in my opinion, you should like give so many like minor punishments for everything wrong that they do. So for example, if they DM, you can kill them, right? Not necessarily, you don't have to disable them, but you have to repeat like Hand of God so many times, like every time they do something wrong, that they maybe eventually learn, but you shouldn't really kind of, force them away or like basically treat them like garbage. Their, rules are there, but in my opinion, they're too harsh.
So,
But in the end, it all comes to admins. Like, they all punish as they see fits.
yeah.
So some admins are easygoing, and some of them like are way too harsh. Like, for one minor accident, they would disable someone for 7 days, which is, in my opinion, too much.
What I would do, yeah, carry on.
So you think that like fining and Hand of Godding should be like the most often punishments people should do, admins should do?
Most often, yeah. But if those don't help, then yeah, I guess disable is the only thing that you can do, or a ban. But the general, you shouldn't ban or disable people, in my opinion, unless they're doing something really wrong and way too often.
Well,
I actually agree
it would kind of in a way save the player base. Like, they can continue enjoying the game, and if you ban them, they get bitter or basically mad, and they would come back even more upset than before, and they would end up breaking more rules. So it's like a psychology thing instead of.
yeah.
I do agree with the Hand of God though, because I remember when I was like really new player, like I don't think I was even registered for a while before I figured out I have to register. I remember people got like a lot of Hand of Gods, and I'm talking like in a row, You would see it like overkill feed all the time, and people got Hand of God at like, I don't know by what admins at the time, but I remember
Santa.
it was like 6, 7 in a row, and nowadays like the most you see is 3, which if a guy has like 3 life insurances, which most people have on them all the time, it's not even gonna hurt him in any way, So I would like to see like 10 in a row, not even kidding, like spam that kill feed with it.
Nah, in my opinion, you should like only punish if they do something wrong, and like there should be like a list if player has, for example, like killed 2 people without reason and abused some animations. Like, for each of those punishments, you would have like, for example, for a DM, you would get like 1 Hand of God, and for animation abuse or something like that, 2. So if he kills 2 people and animation abuses, that's 4 Hands of God in total. So in my opinion, that wouldn't be like too much, but still it wouldn't be like enough to force a player away.
I disagree, because 1 Hand of God for 1 DM is not enough, because pretty much what you've done is just evened it out, The guy who died lost life insurance because of this dude, and now this dude just only dies once as well. So he's not essentially getting punished any more than the guy who got the DM'd, He should have gotten punished more than the guy who was unjustifiably killed,
Well, there are many ways.
And also admins punish as they see fit, so
yeah. When I saw the forum post you made about that, I was like, is Overseer smoking Lucas's meth? But but after a while, it made me remember a few things. Like, regulars just don't respond well to disables at all. you know? And it does remind me of the time in IRC back when Lean had his copycat server. He was going into IRC, he was talking snit. Everybody was trash talking him back. But I remember this time, Blister, right? He talked to Lean like a human. And I was taken back. I was like, what the fuck? Like, Lean is actually calming down? Blister gave him the pat on the back as a therapist, and he's actually responding to what he's saying. He's like, bro, why are you doing all this advertising? And Lean actually, like, he complied, and I was like, bro, like, but listen, like, I can't do that. Like, I just can't be the put the arms around you and hug a bad player and just talk to them like they're a human, like they have a brain or something. It's very tough to do that, and it's very tough for admins to do that, you know what I mean? So, like, for example, these Italian cheaters, right? You know, they cheat all the damn... Who? Syncroid, Dr. Chaos, all those guys. The lawyer, yes. Yeah. Now, apparently those guys want to come back, and they want to be cheat-free. You know, but after you've ban evaded 10 times a day, 4 players ban evading 10 times a day or more, you know, and they just so happen to want to come back on the server and be clean, quote unquote, after 2 days, by the way, it's very tough to let all of that go, you know.
True.
So, yeah, I don't really know. So apparently they're gonna go off the server for 2 weeks, come back October 26th, and all of a sudden these 4 or 5 habitual cheaters are just gonna come back, and we have to take that, and it's like, I don't know, it's very difficult.
Yeah, you feel like they're making a fool out of you, but that's where like constant punishments come in. Like if they, for example, they're like a group of cheaters that always cheat, you can just go ahead and like constantly harass them, like not necessarily ban them, but ruin their cheating experience.
Yes.
So there's nothing like, every problem can be solved unless, you know, I mean,
that's
from my experience, there's a lot of ways that you can deal with a cheater. Like you can freeze them, you can like mute them so they don't harass anyone.
It's true, yeah.
But it only, like, in the end, eventually it all comes down to an admin and what kind of person they are. If it's an admin with like short like temper, they would probably end up banning them. But I did have a lot of experience being an admin in many like servers, both for SAMP and like not related to GTA, and I've learned so many things. Like, you, instead of like giving the ultimate punishment, you should like consider them like a bad seed. Like, they can't be fixed, right?
Yes, true.
But other players can be saved from their, you know, bullshit. So
that's true. Well, I mean, that's right. I remember some of the late old fag admins who were like made admin like 2010 or 2011. They more encouraged like guys ban evading all the time. Then, just as you said, you freeze them, you jail them, you cage them. You know, just make them look like a zoo, and they may get a kick out of it, and you'll get a kick out of it, and they'll no longer be able to terrorize the server, you know. So this would definitely fit in this situation as well, and I guess I wish I had done that. But yeah, I thought about it, like going back to the Blister Lean thing. I don't know. I just don't have. It's just not my personality, I guess. But yeah.
See, I think that's where it comes into play. What we talked on previous shows. That I actually think there should be a range of really different admins. You know, one is there to know things about cheats. The other is there to, I don't know, be the kind of person for the community. You know, and one admin would, I don't know, takes no shit from no one, like you, for example, right? And there should be someone like Blister who can talk his way into people, you know, because sometimes you do not achieve the same kind of result with everyone, you know. With some, like, you'll punish, you achieve nothing, you know, but actually talking to them, you might achieve something, whereas with others, it's opposite, you know.
Yeah, I'm glad that Kesh reminded me of my idea. So.
Your idea?
Yeah, so yeah, so Overseer, of course, new admins are apparently coming, but you know, I'm gonna give you a few types of admins, and you should tell me like what type of admins do we need? Do we need admins who, in the lag comp era, are very knowledgeable about cheaters? Do we need admins who are able to give us events and with that possibly make the game more fun for people, which in turn may possibly increase the player base? Or do we just need new admins who are, you know, friends with other admins and they become admin and then 4 years later they say the server's dead? You know what I mean? Yeah.
You don't fit into any of those categories.
Or do we need admins who have played for a long time, have been great for a long time, have been nice for a long time, and they just deserve it? How do you think, Kesh? Is that me now?
I still think you don't fit into any category.
Alright, so my personal opinion, right, would be to have like each of like one of each. But except for, you know, being friends with admins and get admin, that's, in my opinion, pointless.
Yes.
So there should be like a counselor person that would talk to everyone, like be helpful and still kind of do their admin job. There should be admin specifically for parties, but then again, he should also have some knowledge, right? So he could, you know, organize events and basically entertain people. And then the last one was the person in lag comp era who would be experienced. In my opinion, the experience to recognize a cheat in a lag comp, you know, like you don't need too much experience to recognize a cheater, so that one kind of falls in the water. So in my opinion, there should be like an admin who would be helpful, like a counselor person who will, you know, guide others. And
I think you completely forgot one category, which should be like a premium category, which has always been around apart last few promotions, which is girl admin.
Well, all right. So my opinion about girl admins is if they like, it's not necessarily related to the gender. It's more of a like what kind of person they are. If they're very entertaining, sure, I mean, I have nothing against them, but in most cases they're usually there just for, well,
see, I will make you, oh man, I love doing this. I want to know your personal and professional opinion about Sarah's getting an admin and why you think she's good or bad promotion. Now go and stand your friends.
Oh no, hell!
Alright, like, I will give you my personal opinion, but it's
she
not
was like
a
16
professional.
or something, no?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
She was around 16 back then, and so I really, the first time I met her, she was really new in game, and a couple of months later she got admin status, which is kind of interesting, but I really don't understand why promote such a person. Maybe she was like, maybe she discovered something like game-breaking glitch or something, but even then, I don't think it's like something that would like give you admin like permission or, you know, deserve to be an admin.
Do you think
so in my opinion,
do you think CnR ruined her? I mean, made her be less happy person and stuff? Do you think CnR is to blame?
I mean,
did the fact that she got admin so young, like, wear heavy on her or whatever, like, made her too depressed or whatever?
Well, I mean, I have no idea, actually. She was,
okay.
In my opinion, I know that she was fairly new when she got it, and like I said, my opinion is not professional, but someone must have noticed something good about her. So but in my opinion, I don't think she deserves admin. And speaking of which, I mean, there are so many admins. Yeah, I mean, I'm not upset or anything, but I really do think that some choices that Bob made were questionable at best.
Yes.
But then again, it's only his opinion. We don't have any right to decide who gets to be admin.
Yo, Rashawn, am I getting paid more for creating this drama shit?
It's not drama, in my opinion. I'm getting some angry PMs in game about Sarah.
I actually really like you, Overseer, for the fact that you're probably the first freaking person on CNR. I talked about this before on our shows and stuff, but seriously, you're the first person on this show that has cojones to come in here and say, "Listen, dudes, I'm made of material to be an admin. I know I can do it. I know I have experience. I know I'm a good person." Everyone's kind of hushing back in shadows somewhere, "Oh no, I don't want to be an admin," but then you speak with them privately, they want to be an admin and stuff. What's the point in that, Be Overseer, come in here, be confident, say I'm the material to be an admin, show who you are, and that's it.
Well, I'm not, directly saying that. What I'm saying is that I'm more qualified than everyone else. Most of the recent
I see
admins.
that. Yes, I see that. Clearly, yes. That's true.
Yeah.
That's
but
true.
yeah, it's not up to me or anyone here in the talk show to decide, so.
Well, Rashawn has a say, I guess.
Yeah, but he's 1 out of 100, so that's 1%,
Rashawn,
right?
He just nullified you.
No, I'm speaking the truth, right? I assume that everyone gets a voice, and everyone has a saying. So in the end, one vote doesn't actually mean anything, in my opinion.
Well, hey, I mean.
But yeah, the latest promotions that happened almost 2 years ago were questionable at best.
You don't have the fortune to be in the right time zone, buddy, though, because there's just too many of us. Need to move.
Move to America,
Yeah. Or Australia or some shit.
Exactly. Well, that kind of sucks, doesn't it?
There are a couple of Australian admins that are really... Actually, there are some admins that I have nothing against, right? And most of them are from Australia, so... They're all doing a great job, except for Tablespoon, who's always fucking around and making objects.
Well,
Just kidding, but yeah, I mean, I did.
That's part of being admin too. I mean, of course,
but now,
as useless, but to some people in game, it can mean a lot,
All right, so sorry for interrupting you, but I read a post saying that, for example, Tablespoon and many others only played the game to. Basically just make events and objects, right?
Yes.
But personally, I've witnessed many different cases where an event would be paused, or we would have a brief break while a certain admin does it's his job, basically. Yeah. So even though they organize events, they still do their job as an admin. So all of the people who kind of,
Apart if you're Sean, then you don't do events and you don't look even if people are cheating, you just straight away ban.
That's wrong.
No, I mean even all right. So Roshan does most of his work on SF, and you wouldn't know. And most of the players listening right now wouldn't know because nobody plays SF.
I play SF. Yesterday, I played so much SF. Me and Stepo were discussing, where's this fucking Rashawn now? Seriously, so many cheaters on SF, and he's always, SF is Angel Town, Bullshit, man, bullshit. The guy was literally, what happened yesterday? Guy was aim button, right? He was aim button Stepa so much that he had to spam donuts, right? Then we go chase him towards Angel Pine, and because I'm obviously supreme shooter, I mowed down the guy, mowed him down, like wrecked completely, and I shot at his body just because I was pissed. Oh shit, I was supposed to say I'm clean on this show. Whatever, And you know what the guy says to me?
What?
Fucking aimboters. I'm like, seriously? Coming from you, bro? Can't believe it, this SF. Bring that city.
Yeah, shout out to Troller Man, who's skeptical of this being a live show, and he thinks this is pre-recorded, so in your face.
Pre-recorded.
No,
I'm with Dookie now drinking beer.
If you think this is pre-recorded, get that ass banned.
Get that ass banned.
Yeah, we're not, like, everything you hear right now is live, and
110%, yes.
Everything's scripted. We made Dookie say those things.
if it wasn't live, this would be probably heavily edited, so I can basically talk shit for as long as I'm a guest.
Damn.
But in the end, that's like what we're here for. I'm here to entertain you, and I'm here to share my story, so...
Well, speaking of stories, alright, so we talked about it a bit before on this show here, but you remember CUSA, right? CUSA, the very honorable cop group, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny, because I like to trash Europeans on this server, but that group was mostly full of Americans, yet we never really were compatible with each other. A lot of people didn't like each other, and it's still kind of radiated into today. There are still people that were in that group, in that Discord, Mumble, that still don't like each other. But was there a point during that time sitting in those channels with 10, 15, 20 people maybe, and you're like, why am I even in this group, man? Was there a moment like that?
Actually, yeah. So before I joined, I thought it was like a place where, just like this radio show, everyone would talk and have like a normal conversation, and we would all share our experience. But in the end, what it actually was is just people saying yes over and over again, and just basically nothing interesting happened. And I was like, why did I join? Why am I wasting my time?
Yes.
When there's actually no actual gameplay. So I joined to play with these people, and all they do is sit on one car and drive around and not talk. Like, the point of Mumble or any voice program is to talk.
Exactly. That's
exactly.
But
you forgot number 2.
I thought you were gonna say like the complete opposite. Like, there were people talking nonsense and all this snits.
Well, there were some, but there was like times when we would talk nonsense, but that's nothing like too interesting to me. I really like to have a topic and that we can discuss like in depth, like we can all share opinion, but instead it was just like a shit talking fest, in my opinion.
Oh yes, that was all CUSA was.
And teaching Ricard how to shoot, which is
oh my god,
that was like a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it was actually, shout out to Trollman and Lofi right now, but Carl too, right, had a server, and Sphincter McGee also had a server. Like, it was a quote unquote training server where we would try to teach Rat how to shoot.
My god.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much used for autism.
Left click mouse?
Left click mouse, yes.
Yeah, but at that time there was lag shooting, so you had to explain the concept of lag shooting and actually shooting in front of a car.
Yes, exactly. But
here it is. You explained it in 3 seconds.
Yeah, you just.
I mean,
so complicated about it.
I can explain, but they are not. It's kind of hard to comprehend. And if I didn't have the experience, like, I would think that they're messing with me. I would never believe like you have to play a game where you have to shoot in front of the people. So. I can see why it was so difficult to her to understand, but then again, like, she probably could see a video, like, where people shoot in front and deal damage, so...
Well, since you both guys gave shoutouts to people in game, right? I have shoutout too. I really have to before I forget. So this dude yesterday, Tosher Killer, right? He PM'd me. I have a sweet voice, so I promised to give him a shoutout. Gee, thanks, man. You're the first one who doesn't say I sound like a dog. That's
Wait, what's his name?
Tosher Killer. Apparently, he's a thumbnail in your video about our interview actually with Flintwood. He's right on the first picture.
Oh,
you're like literally
I know. Touch your killer, yeah. Okay.
Yes. He's asleep now, but
so yeah, I was just speaking of shoutouts, aren't you gonna shout out one of your old friends, Cash?
Who? Steba?
ID 77 actually.
I'm not in a game, so
I see. So Ashes.
Ashes,
yeah. We actually talked about him like 20 minutes ago, and
yes, I really like Ashes. I don't know, some people hate him, some people like him. I don't know. I have nothing but really nice experience with him, and I actually played for some time with him, you know, trying to learn how to be a hitman, but it turned out I'm a hopeless, how to say, student or whatever. Like, there was no way in getting hitman blood into my bloodstream, you know. But props to him for trying anyway. I actually got a freaking offer yesterday or 2 days ago from Evangelist. Now he's gonna try to make me a hitman, so you guys should be worried. There's gonna be a hit girl on the server soon.
No, I don't think so.
Oh my god, Rashawn.
I don't think so.
We can
that
be
spot is already taken, I believe.
I mean,
like,
but yeah, shout outs to Evangelist as well. He's a really nice dude. We had a really nice chat actually about real life and stuff. Right?
Well, you can be like the next female hitman.
There was like, I don't know if she was a girl though, but Nikki.
Yeah.
She had some temper issues though. They're not quite the same. I think I'm too mellow to be a hitman, you know? And also like I have no confidence whatsoever because I like go through the list, you know, I press like hits, whatever, and I'm like, nah, this guy's too good. No, this guy's probably better than me, you know. Everyone's better than me, so like there's no point, you know.
Yeah, that's what I did.
And I always end up buying like the whole arsenal, you know, of the guns, like Sons, whatever, MP5, whatever, you know, X, whatever. I decide Deagle, whatever. And in the end, there's only two ways I can kill people: by sniping them from 50 meters when they're buying weapons, you know, or chainsawing them outside of the city hall when they're buying weapons. So what's the point in me buying even weapons? I should probably just buy chainsaw.
Yeah, probably. But I remember, like, before we had Juicy Royalty, which she was a very good hitman.
Really? Didn't know that. She's really nice.
She always did hits with Razor, but she stopped playing, and she was kind of replaced by Nikki. So she was our next like female hitman.
Juicy is not so she doesn't have like anger issues. I felt like, I don't know. Nikki was all over the place though.
Yeah, that was what actually that made her a good hitman. She would always get pissed off, and she didn't know when to stop. She would literally like
put hit on you for the smallest shit ever. Yeah. I think she's got probably like the most hits placed, no? Something like that. It must be.
Probably. She's in top 10 for sure.
Yes.
No, she's probably by far number one.
Yeah.
Really?
It's placed. Yeah.
Where is that woman though?
Gone.
Gone.
Nikki is gone. There's dead.
Yeah.
Completely gone.
That is dead.
In peace.
So what did Ashes say? At least hello to me in chat. Huh?
He PM'd me. He told me to go fuck myself. But
I just told you the Ashes is like the nicest guy, and now he's like, fuck you.
Yeah, but he's like one of the oldest friends I have in this game. I was the one.
Sorry, keep on.
Yeah, I was the one who I actually taught him how to play when he was kind of new. Yeah, I taught him the basics to how to shoot when there was lag shooting, and I was actually number one spot in DM stadium kills for a few years actually, because I've learned, or I taught so many players how to shoot, and I feel like I'm kind of responsible for the amount of DMers that we have today.
Get him out. No, the thing about Ashes though, because we spoke about Ashes, that's just, you'll probably agree with me though. Like, he's a really nice dude when you talk with him outside the game. I mean, I don't actually know how he's inside the game all the time, because like I only hear from him from PMs and the times he played with me, but like, I don't know, maybe he could be like a horrible DM or whatever in the game, you know, I don't know, but what I can say from outside the game, he's a really nice dude, that's all.
Well, I mean, he's a good guy overall, but
Okay.
yeah, he kind of
Don't know about
thinks he always thinks that I'm an asshole, but in fact, I mean, in reality, he knows that he's a good guy. It was the only game that we had access to. Like, we all started playing CS 1.6, and that was basically the only game that we could play. So there were that's the only game that we can play, and we spent a lot of our young age playing the game. And as the times moved on, there came out a CS Source, and we got used to that. And CSGO is very similar to Source, so I just kind of have to say that, I mean, it's kind
you
of...
don't really have any pro teams though, which is weird.
Yeah. Because we're not that good.
For example, he's from Bosnia, not even from Serbia.
Nico, yeah.
Yeah.
Janko, which is the coach of MIBR.
Yeah, he's Serbian though.
Yeah, he's...
I kind of like him, but apparently he's super young. Like, he looks like my dad. Okay, maybe not my dad, but apparently he's like the same age as me, which makes me think I'm fucking old. But,
well, you are. I mean...
yeah, go screw it.
I am the young one here.
Baby faces. I'm working with baby faces here on this show. Get me out.
Get him out. Also, my mic wasn't on. My mic wasn't on when I asked him the question. I asked him how are Serbs so good at CSGO, so he answered the question. What do you say, Kesh?
When is John coming on this show so I have like an old dude to hit on?
Exactly. You know, John, I mean, anytime John wants to be here, John, you know, you just come around, man. I mean, everyone wants to hear your voice.
Will you say at that time you're gonna get John as well? When John is gonna be here?
I mean, he hasn't said anything, so, you know. Oh.
No, I mean
what?
Your lunch, you know.
Oh, yeah. You know, whenever.
God, so slow.
Yeah, whenever I get lunch or food, you know, I call out John. So there it is. Anyway, so let's go to the questions from the CNR congregation.
Sure.
All right. Yes.
Excited about those.
Very excited. So. We'll start with Igly17, and if you could guess, the first question from Igly17 is, what are your thoughts on Albanians? And I think this is great, because we actually have a purebred guy from Serbia asking, or being asked this question. Yes, so what do you think?
Alright, so, of course, when we're talking about, like, the national issues, of course there are some issues, but like what their government does and what, you know, I feel to them has nothing to do with how I feel about players in game. Of course, most of them are breaking the rules, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad people. So my personal opinion, and most of the Serbian players won't probably agree, but I have nothing against them. Like, they're all like good people in a way, and the way they act in game is just like it's probably justified, of course. So nobody, I mean, not everyone like knows English very well, which is probably the main reason why they're like made fools. Like I don't agree. They do break the rules, and there are probably times where you can laugh at them, but
Yes.
like one of or few players don't like talk for the whole nation. Eagly is the example. He's like, in the past, he was kind of, from what I noticed, he used to break the rules also, but he changed and he cut ties with all of his friends, and now he's like one of the, in my opinion, one of the best regulars so far.
Yeah, and you know.
I mean, all he does basically in game is just do missions and score whore, but even so, there's nothing wrong with that, right? So
I kind of expected to see his name more. I mean, at some point, I know when I played, people really considered him all the time as a good player, you know, and as a good regular nowadays. So when there was that topic created on forums by this, I actually expected to see his name more. Honestly, like, not because of, I don't know, I would think that way or whatever, but I had feeling from the server chat and stuff that more people would think that way, you know.
well, I mean, even like Serbian players are kind of on a bad voice.
Lately,
we're
yes.
considered
Yes, lately, yeah.
lately, yeah. So I'm like the example that not everyone is like an asshole or basically challenged.
I don't know, I'm not
But-
convinced yet.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
However, it's all, you know, good jokes, but yeah, lately, and even like not lately actually, it all started like 3 or 4 years ago. Like Serbian players before were much more rule abiding, I would say. There were a few of them.
Yeah,
For example,
very
my
true.
friend Special. He's a rule breaker, but he's not behaving like an animal, right?
Yeah, that's right.
He's kind of a good guy. And Slash, who was a member of DMH, and then Gaza later,
Yeah.
and also
Gaza
Blackhand. Like all of these players were,
I didn't know
like,
Black Hand was Serbian.
yeah,
I thought he was Egyptian or something.
he lives really close to me actually.
See,
And
what, like, if you had to choose one Serbian player, like we always say that Igli is a good representative of Albanian players, right? If you had to like pick one Serbian player, obviously not yourself, you know, who would you like put as a good representative of a Serbian player?
there was an
community?
old player called Al Capone.
Yes, I
Yeah,
remember.
He's kind of a good guy. Like he never broke the rules that I know of. And he was a really good friend of mine. So he's kind of the, besides myself, of course, he's like kind of the person that I would, you know, ask to represent. For example, like if we had a nationality day, he would be the one who would represent Serbia.
How about that?
But a lot of players are, like I said, in the past few years, they've all changed and they all kind of became ignorant, which for some reason, I don't know why, but they just are.
See, I've gotten like a donkey of the day before, you know, for being a
yeah.
stereotypical girl, right? So
Yes.
since we're talking about Serbia, I have to honor my donkey and I have to ask you, how tall are you?
Tall.
How so?
Well, I'd say like, I don't know the imperial like size, but I'm
just in ours. We don't
like-
give a shit about
Yeah,
it.
say it in Borat. Yeah, say it in Borat.
180, maybe a few like.
You don't fall into my stereotype. Well, kinda, but no.
Nah, you could consider myself being like the short guy of all of my friends. So
Yeah, because like Serbians are considered to be quite tall, you know. I think at least.
they actually are. I'm like the only there's something wrong with me, I guess.
You're like Christy Edge of Survey.
Probably. Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no. And let's see here. We have about a half hour left. If you can hear, I'm actually eating broccoli right now, obviously. So I'm gonna ask Igley's other question here. He asked, "What are your thoughts on CNR community nowadays, and can new admins somewhat change the current situation?"
That's a difficult one, actually. Now, my opinion about the current situation or the player base is, I don't know how to put it, but I guess times change and players change as well. So the remaining players online right now, like all of the active players, are mostly rule breakers. And my opinion is, as long as they enjoy the game, I mean, it's fine by me. They don't harm me in any way. But it's not like it used to be before. Before, like, you could have so many players online. They would all do different jobs, different missions, and the current like playstyle is, in my opinion, not the right way to play CNR. But new admins can probably change the situation, but not long term.
I mean, there's not as much fishing, not as much trucking, not as much, stuff that makes CNR what CNR is. So
yes,
a lot of fighting, a lot of lag combos.
Yeah, to answer Igley's question, I think, so the current situation is kind of bad. It's not as bad as it can be, of course, but new admins, in my opinion, can only improve the gameplay or the quality of gameplay so much. Like, it's gonna be temporary, 3 to 4 weeks at best, and then it's all gonna go back to the current state.
Yeah, that's how it always goes, New admins get made, the same cycle gets put on eventually.
Yeah, but so my opinion, or the solution to this is, so this is of course only my opinion. I don't know if not everyone is gonna agree. So the only a way or reason, or not actually the only way to kind of have it last longer, the promotions and the fun and the hype, would be to admins have weekly or even daily trivias, questions, prizes, and like I said, the bad players should not be punished as much. I think that's the only way that admins can actually improve the quality of gameplay.
I actually seen on one of the servers before I joined CNR, there was, I don't actually remember which server it was, but it was like trivia bot, that you had on RC sometimes.
Right.
And the person that would answer the question the fastest in chat, would be credited, I don't know, 5,000, So it made people actually participate in chat, learn the game, I don't know, be part of something, whatever. A part of Ropkir, I don't know what, suka, blate, fuck you, man.
Yeah, I mean,
it was nice,
It doesn't have to be necessarily a bot or anything, but it can be like a mini event that admins can organize, like a trivia. And those who don't want to join, they can just ignore, basically. And I think that's the only way to kind of help people change their ways for a while, or to be focused on something else than DMing only.
Yep.
It can be a fresh change.
Yeah, that's
so. That's true, it was a really difficult question by Igley. So fuck you. Go back to your flower missions, kid.
And let's see here. Got something here from Messed Up Smiley. I think we already touched on the starting anew, shown you about CNR and their players' mentality or whatever. he asked, what are your favorite activities to do on CNR, and were those activities affected by this change in decreasing player base? And if so, how do you cope with that, if you get it?
All right, so my playstyle of the game has nothing to do with interacting with other players. So my experience hasn't changed, basically. Like, I still do all the things that I used to do before, which is mostly I do random missions that nobody does anymore, of course. So I really like to rank up when it comes to global ranking of the player stats. So I do those missions, and they have nothing to do with player count. Like, most of the missions can be done with using the bots or having no interaction at all. So my gameplay hasn't changed. And what was the other part of the question?
Well, since you said it doesn't really change anything, I guess, you don't have to cope to anything, so that pretty much was it there.
It's not changed at all.
Okay, let's see here, and the last question from the forum was from Borrowed Warlord. He said, talk about the All Blue days.
Oh,
All Blue days with the Warlord, Seniza and all that.
Oh, no. Seniza wasn't a part of All Blue. All Blue.
Huh?
Oh, yeah, but he wasn't All Blue until, he got mad and then, made his own.
Yeah, but he kind of started playing when All Blue was already kind of dead, so he couldn't experience all of the fun times that we had. And by fun times, I mean 10 cops on one car, damaging each other instead of warrants.
Yes.
And,
you can still see those kind of faggots on Allies and Trust, for example, Must Have Smiley, Cyber, Harry Thompson.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, but back then it was much more, it was a clusterfuck, basically, because they would constantly shoot others, damage each other instead of the warrants, and
yeah.
basically have a competition.
People were standing so close to each other when they were shooting, they were bashing each other.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
And so that, we would have a normal cop car, a 4-seater with 10 cops, and that was kind of impossible. But yeah, in the end, it was only the matter of who can spam 2 fastest.
Pretty much, yeah. I remember driving those LS police car cop tanks with 8 people on it, so... yeah.
And usually, so Sigma was very smart, so he kind of figured out how to basically get his arrests up, because the person driving has the biggest range of arrest, and he would use all of the shooters to disable a warrant, and he would get the arrest. So probably the only here's the fun part. He always had small money reins that would gather all of the cops to play with him. He would make a group, and he would send 500k a group, and when you share 500k with 10 cops, it's 50k each, and players were very content with that. They were satisfied, we're just shooting and we're getting money. But in the end, Sigma, because of that, got many Cop of the Year awards, and
you're making him sound like he's sort of criminal who's
in my
guys
opinion,
into doing shit for him.
Yeah, so that might sound he's a bad guy, but in my opinion, that's very smart. So he's using all of the rookies to his advantage, and I see nothing wrong with that. I was a part of those rookies, and so was Warlord. So
that's why nowadays they call him Sugma,
Sugma 1. That's
yeah.
Sugma
Join my team, Sugma.
Yes. Sugma 1 nut. Yes.
But yeah, so there weren't some there wasn't anything interesting happening at those times. We did have some events, but they were mostly organized by admins, so like All Blue had nothing to do with it. It was only like All Blue participants with a few randoms, but that's about it. But that's where I met like Warlord and so many players that no longer play, and I'm kind of sad to see them gone. But then again, you know, times change, and I'm surprised it has actually been like 7 years since then. Warlord was probably like 4 when he was playing.
Yeah, he was 4 years old, yeah.
The only picture I really liked from Warlord was that one with the Hello Kitty blanket. I remember.
Oh yeah, that was...
It was cute, come on. I think he won many like girl hearts on CNR just by that, you know. Became White Knight of those girls later.
There are girls on CNR? Hello?
Really?
Hello?
Really?
I mean,
sign me up.
apparently the girls on CNR are really hot. I mean, a part of me, of course, because I rated 3 out of 10, you know. And there's a girls trannies on this server that rated higher than me. I mean, like, we have a Mihawk who rated 6 out of 10 till later it was found out that he is a tranny. So by the scores given to girls by Kyle Smith and who was it, Banana Ghost, I actually rated the lowest out of all the girls on the CNR. Thanks.
So even trannies beat you, huh?
Sorry?
Yeah.
Even trannies scored higher.
Yeah. Now I'm kind of like questioning those guys. Maybe they are actually more into guys, you know? That's not my fault, but...
Well, you know, I never actually paid attention to like the girls of CNR, so I never compared how they look, and I never actually had like a scoring system. So the only the only girl that I know how it looks is Sarah, which is the admin, and you, because I've seen a couple of your streams. So.
Oh yes, of course. Well, actually, for a dog, you know, that I am, apparently 3 out of 10 is really good mark. So, thanks, guys.
Yeah, she welcomes you.
Yep.
See, if you hung around Balearis, right? You remember Balearis?
Oh, yeah.
If you hung around Balearis, he would definitely, you know, tell you to rate girls out of 10, you know?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Speaking of rating the girls and stuff, right? So I've been PM'd by Stepa, and he's like, man, you're in radio show, you know, can you give out ad for my RPV? Which is, for those who don't know, Stepa's doing RPV of the CNR girls only. And since no girl has sent the picture yet, please save Stepa from me being the first one, because... I really don't want to send 3 out of 10 picture to the poor dude, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Help him out.
Step is 69. He is, you know, making a all-female RPB. Clothed pictures are not accepted, so... If you're a CNR girl out there and you just want to be an exhibitionist, then, you know, if you so want to, go ahead. It's very highly encouraged, okay?
Remember, girls, it's for a good cause.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice guy. And also, I want to use this CNR show before we end or whatever, to actually remind people there is actual RPV with clothed pictures being accepted going on forums. I think you need to submit pictures in, I don't know, 2-3 weeks or something. So hurry up.
And that video is... That video is for both male and female players, so...
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever been part of those RPV videos? I don't actually remember.
Yeah, I think I've been a part of one.
Right.
Yeah, I did send my picture once, yeah. I just don't remember when. It was probably
it clothed or naked? Because I'm not interested.
Yeah, since I'm not admin, or girl, I would say that, yeah, it was clothed, and not many people enjoyed.
Well, you never know. I mean, somebody must have liked from behind the scenes, you know.
probably.
That's usually how it is. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Pretty bouse interview, Overseer. All right, we broke a lot of news on this interview with your past snits. Congratulations, 2.5 years on a different account and less than 5 people figuring you out. I mean, I tell you that's a pat on the back right there.
I just want to take the time to thank the admin who, well, basically told one person who I was, and then that person telling everyone. So I don't know who this admin is, but thank you.
Also,
you fucked up my challenge.
We usually give this very end segment of our show to our guest to give shout-outs to his lovers, I don't know, partners in crime, whatever. So if there's any shout-outs you want to give, go on.
I'm all good.
All good.
Yeah, we discussed this. This is the reason why I left my accounts. Come on, Cash. There's nobody that I want to shout out.
Listen, bro, I have half brain to work with. We've been going on for 2 hours, kind of like overheating right now. So give me a break.
I mean, you're excused. I mean, I would, there's actually no people that I would like to shout out. So
crap.
Yeah,
I'm an asshole. Deal with it, guys.
Oh, and tell you, drop one of clues bombs for Overseer, man. This guy is he's a funny dude, I tell you. Funny dude. But that's gonna do it for the CnR Radio session here. Pretty bounce interview. A raw recording time of 2.5 hours. Well, I'm gonna have a lot of fun trying to sift through this snit. I tell you, man. I tell you. But that's gonna do it. We'll see you next week for the Punkery Show on Wednesday for Kesh, for Overseer. This is Rashawn, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.